Hello, everyone. This is Jordan. Welcome back to the Daily Gold YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This video is being recorded on the afternoon of Friday, June 6th, 2025. And we're here to wrap up the week in precious metals, as we always do. If you're new to the channel, that's what we do every Friday. We wrap up the week in precious metals. And I am really time constrained right now, but since I do this every week, I wanted to get this out for you. So I'm going to try and run through this a little bit quicker than usual. And the reality is we had a silver breakout, but a couple days ago, it looks like the stocks, the miners, the juniors, they put in a short-term peak that's also reflected in gold's price action today. So a little bit of a mix. We're going to talk about it and what we can expect next week and beyond. Let's get to it. Okay, so starting off here, as we always do, this is our market overview. We have these beautiful 3 or 4 month candle charts with the moving averages here. What you'll see is the 50-day in blue, the 200-day in red, and then the 400-day moving average. Now, with respect to gold, gold is still in a consolidation / correction, because we can see here, there is resistance here, right here, right here. And then again, we came up here, and the last couple of days there, we're selling at 3,400. Now, for me, I like this. This is a good thing. We're going to see gold continue to consolidate and correct. I think that's good. Puts it in position later on for an even bigger move higher. And we can see here gold against the stock market. Look what happened today. I mean, it did bounce here, but this is the 50-day moving average, a short-term indicator. Rallied here, rallied a bit, but it's still below the 50-day. So very short-term. This is evidence. Could be a little pressure on gold next week, Now, on the other hand, silver finally broke above 35. Now, Greg Weldon mentioned 36.50 as a target. So today, you did have potentially a bearish candle today, so we'll have to keep that in mind. Now, even if silver reverses next week back below 35, you do have support here, call it in the 33s, and very strong support here, call it 32, 33. So if silver comes back, it invalidates the breakout next week. No biggie, medium term, nothing to worry about. Now here's GDX, GDXJ, SILJ. We can see, and I'll talk about this gap because I did put out a flash update a couple days ago for subscribers. Looks like this gap here is going to fill. Same thing here. This gap will fill. Couple gaps here in SILJ. This gap is going to fill. So look, the last couple days, not a great candle. Yesterday in GDX, same thing for GDXJ, SILJ. Hard to see, but what happened is it went up, but then it lost the gains as it closed. It closed here, but earlier in the day, it was way up here. So you had that. Then today you had a down day. So short term, the miners have hit a peak. And so we're probably going to see selling pressure on the sector over the next week or two. People, that's a good thing. It was getting way too overbought, and I'm going to get into that in a couple slides. Stock market, it's here. Nothing much to say. 10-year yield popped back up today. Here's TLT. I'm less focused on those things right now. Let's get to the daily candle charts. Gold and silver. Gold here, silver here, of course. Silver broke above 35 finally. And so you do have a potential, I did at some point have a chart where I was showing, you can see this better on a daily line chart, but it looks like kind of an ascending potential triangle. And so the breakout would measure potentially, I think it's about 42, 41, 42. So that is a potential target for silver. But still, I mentioned 35. I mentioned it's got to get through 37 too. Greg Weldon said 36.50. Look where it stopped, almost at 36.50. So we'll see. This can come back here, maybe even a little bit lower. Trade like this. Again, no biggie. Here's gold. This is what I sketched out last week, something like this. Looks like there's a chance it could come back and test this line below 3,200. Again, no biggie. This is something we've been expecting for weeks and weeks. And so, again, short term, trend is probably going to be lower in the sector. Now we can see here the weekly chart, bearish candle for gold this week, really bullish candle for silver, by the way. And you can see here, I mean, this consolidation, we talked about it. Again, whether you measure from 28 or 29, 34, projects to 41, potentially as high as 42. But again, we could see this correct and consolidate for a little while before trending higher. Here's the weekly line chart for silver. Again, we can see the price action, beautiful breakout. So I think gold's going to continue to consolidate. It's probably going to pull silver in the short term into a little consolidation of its own, but silver is definitely stronger than gold at this point. Now, I'm going to talk about the stocks. Well, I was going to say a little bit, but a lot more. But the Daily Gold Premium, our stocks that I own and cover have just been performing really, really well. It's a good thing that they're correcting and that they're going to come back, allow people who miss them a chance to get in at a better price. So they are overheated, but they are going to correct. And this is what we're focused on, people. It's all about finding the best companies that have the highest upside and the stocks that are going to lead this bull market over the next couple of years. Yes, we've had a big move. The stocks have made a big move already, but this is just a precursor to what's coming over the next couple of years. I think this could turn into a full-blown mania in 2 or 3 years if things continue. So corrections like the one we're about to have, that's a good thing. It provides people an opportunity to get in. The stocks you missed, they can come back. But I did mention last week, or in my flash update a couple of days ago, there are 2 stocks, great companies, not that extended, that people can buy. So I'm always looking for stocks that I missed that are great companies, good companies at a good value, and still have that 5x to 10x potential. So again, would love to have you come aboard the Daily Gold Premium. You can sign up for it right here. And those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much for your business. I appreciate you because you allow me to do what I love to do. Okay, and moving on, I do want to mention this. This is just another sample. I'm scratching my back here a little bit, but this is a flash update that I put out. I believe this is Wednesday morning. And I noticed the breadth indicators, at least the percentage here, you can see the percentage of GDXJ and Huey stocks above the 20-day and 50-day moving averages. The Huey stocks, it was above 100%, above both the 20-day and the 50-day. Now for GDXJ, both were at 96%. And people, what we have to understand is, at least my work and my research, regardless of what the medium term or larger term trend is, no matter how strong the market is, you get these figures right here, 100%, 96. That tells you the market's really overbought. And as I wrote here to subscribers, when these figures are that high, the sector almost always begins a short-term correction. So I mentioned the gaps that we had on Monday. Breadth data argues the gaps are going to fill, but I mentioned there's a possibility of breakaway gaps. So it's always important to look at both sides. But at the end of the day, I said, given where metals are near resistance and the breadth indicators, I predicted that we get a short-term dip and a fill of the gaps. And we'll probably correct more than 5% at this point. But, this isn't just to show you that I can call it. It's not about calling every short-term move of the market. It's just assessing where there's risk, where the market's overbought, where we need to step back, maybe trim a little bit. And look, when these numbers get more oversold and the market's at support, that's going to be time to buy and add to our positions. So would love to have you come aboard the Daily Gold Premium. Now, let me wrap things up here with a couple charts on the miners. Look, remember the big picture. GDX, GOEX, GDXJ, plenty of other indices as well. They've broken out here. This was a big-time breakout from these 4.5-year long bases. You can see here, the action here, the action here, the action here. These are big-time breakouts, and the market, these ETFs, they're set up to go much, much higher, okay? But in the very short term, we can see there can be pullbacks. And so this is where the strong support is for GDX, 46. For GDXJ, call it 40. For GOEX, this is GDXJ. This is just below 60 here. And you can see the gap here. This is Monday's gap, especially prominent here and here. And so that gap is likely to fill, and we'll see the miners pull back a little bit. But again, big picture is very, very bullish, but just don't expect things to be very bullish over the next week or two. Okay, moving on. Here's gold stocks against gold. And yes, this happened in the last couple weeks. Here's GDX against gold. Broke out, but it's pulling back a little bit. But GDXJ versus gold, again, this is the larger juniors, GOEX against gold, which I think is a better index than gold. This thing broke out here of a 2-year base. Right here, you can see GDXJ against gold did the same thing. So the juniors, the larger juniors, are now leading GDX. They're much stronger than GDX. But these are beautiful breakouts here. And there's plenty of room in this little correction. These can come back and retest and then move a lot higher. So that's where we are for gold stocks against gold. Oh, by the way, it also happened in silver stocks against silver. This is SIL against silver. You can see here, beautiful breakout. SILJ, the larger juniors in silver, beautiful breakout again. We're going to have a correction. These things can come back a little bit. Okay, finally, short term, daily bar charts here we can see. So it looks like GDX will fill that gap. GDXJ, I'm going to say yes, probably it will fill that gap. SILJ as well. I mean, it does have a gap here. This is probably going to fill. So we'll see. I mean, it could come back. GDX below 51. This is going to be really strong support here. This level, call it 49.5. For GDXJ, so 72. I mean, if that were to come down to 64, I mean, that is more than a 10% correction, which is fine. And so for SILJ, probably here, I would say, come back to this level, although it is possible it could come all the way back here. So again, I don't mean to be so quick, but I'm really tight on time, but really wanted to get this video out for you and not miss any Friday. So that's all for this update. Look, people, we're probably going to see a little weakness. The sector's really been on fire. It's fine. Lower prices are good. The big picture trend is super bullish. We're still early in this. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment. I'd love to read all your comments. We've got an interview with Rick Rule already finished. We will have that Monday for you. And look, even things are overheated here. Doesn't bother him whatsoever. He's still super bullish on the sector. So I'll have that for you on Monday. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I hope you had a good week. Hope you have an even better weekend. I'll talk to you guys again on Monday. Thanks.